So when it comes to sex and our work on this, I'm recognizing that there's a big piece in here for me about wanting sex and other people.
I don't know about pointing to the laptop.
Okay, all right, thanks. So as we're talking about sex, and a piece that we're talking about is wanting sex, like how much I want sex, or the other person wants sex, or, you know, if there's any discrepancy in there, I'm recognizing that there's a big part for me in a relationship of how badly the other person sexually wants me. I mean, fortunately for me, my wife that I'm with right now, the mother of my 3 kids, is the one who wanted me the most. And what I can remember, oh my God, this woman wants me so badly. This is amazing. And because she wanted me so badly, I was able to learn, grow, perform like I'd never had before. And until right now, I was believing it was all because it was how badly she wanted me. Not what my mind was making up about all that. I would call that a sexual breakthrough. And another piece, one of the pieces I want you to know about sex is, particularly if you're initiating sex and maybe you're really young or you haven't had sex before.
They might already know it.
Got that?
They might already know it.
Got it? Okay.
So that's something they might want to share.
Okay. Thanks. So in my journey about sex, I wish I would have had a mentor, somebody who could have at least just talked to me about questions I had about sex. My parents were really young, and my talk about sex was quite short, and my dad was quite uncomfortable, and I didn't really get to learn anything that I didn't already know. And then trial and error, pain, triumph, victory, defeat, I mean, they all seem like they happen over time, and what I really understand is can we talk? Can we talk about what we want? Can I say what I want? Can I ask the other person what they want? Am I willing to listen to what they say? It came in a real strong lesson when my daughter was in the 5th grade and came home from school and said, "Did any of your friends in the 8th grade get pregnant?" And I said, "Yeah, 2. And she said, "Why?" And I remember thinking for just a minute, and what came forward was, well, because they didn't know how to talk. And she said, "Well, what do you mean by that?" And I said, because if they would have known how to talk, they would have been able to say, this is what I want, and this is what I don't want, and this is what I'm comfortable with, and this is what I'm not comfortable with. And more than likely, they would have been able to take precautions so they didn't have an unexpected pregnancy. So I believe one of the clues to great sex is having your own ability to be in your own sexuality so comfortable that you can actually talk during sex, before sex, and after sex. We want to have some conversations
about sex.
We want to have some conversations about sex.
So one of the things that I hope to impart or share is some different versions of, or a different version of what sex is and it's about and it's for. Because in our culture, maybe all cultures are messed up about sex to some degree, and they have their own hang-ups, but ours, they have, on one end, there's kind of the puritanical, sex is evil, your body is wrong, masturbation is bad, the whole sex is a sin, and you're wrong for wanting it or liking it or enjoying it or seeking it. And the other end, our media glamorizes it and throws it out, and they use partially naked women and sometimes men to sell everything from sometimes cars to trips to hair products to anything. And then porn throws this whole other undercurrent of what sex is supposed to be like. It's usually about male gratification and about objectifying women. And then you have our school system throws out, and usually if it's the same as it was when I was in school, it's all fear-mongering, or the majority of it is fear-mongering. And then I ended up being afraid of sex, and I thought it was wrong and my body was wrong, and yet I wanted it, so there must have been something wrong with me.
Fear-based sex training.
Yes.
That's effective.
Yes. And it doesn't seem to stop teenagers from having sex. They're just more messed up about it and more afraid of talking about it, like Troy was talking about, and less informed. So my hope is that in our conversation about sex, we give some different ideas on ways to think about sex and different biases that we all have and filters and the way our culture frames it and ways we can frame it differently and experience it differently and explain it differently, especially to our kids, so that they can make better sexual choices and feel better about themselves than we did about it.
A piece that I would like to talk about when it comes to sex is the freedom that you get to experience if you're having conversations with your partner. The way I grew up and my early experiences with sex were not comfortable. Matter of fact, my first sexual experience with a woman was really like not anything at all like I would want it to be for anybody that I love and care about. And it just wasn't enjoyable because my mind had so many things going on about how it was supposed to be or how it should be or how I was supposed to be. And my goal with my kids is to let them know that I am so available to talk about sex, and I want you to have a great first sexual experience because it's actually exactly what you want, without fear.
What a rare gift for kids.
What's interesting is my kids usually get... What's interesting about my kids is they usually believe they're getting more than they really wanted to know.